Hello, brothers. My name is Chris Douglas with Virginia Research Lodge, and I'm making this short video to talk about phone calls of your members. What I just started doing in the Research Lodge is to contact all of our current members, and I wanted to run through the steps with you because it's really pretty simple. Number one, you need to have a list of members. Now, if you're in Virginia, you have access to Grandview, and if you are a stationed officer or secretary or treasurer, you can get a roster of the members. You can get a report and print it out. If not, you can ask your secretary to send you one, and that will come in Excel as a CSV file. So you can just open it up in Excel, save it as an Excel SX file, which is a current Excel file, and then you can work with it. I personally have another database that I track my information in, so I compared the two. But if you're just starting out and you have nothing, then you can start with that Excel file, that report from Grandview. What you really need is the name fields and the emails and the mobile and home number. Everything else, you can just hide those columns, okay? So then all you do is you write up a list of the questions you want to ask your members. For example, you might say, I want to remind them of an upcoming meeting. I want to ask how they're doing. Just, how are you feeling right now? You and your wife doing okay? And just kind of basic questions. So it helps to have a list of those in advance. So what you do is you take your report and you can just print it out. And then I like to print it out and then just have it on sheets where there's room when I print it to have space on the right to make a note next to everybody. And I just call the numbers. You call the mobile number first, then you call the home number. If I don't get somebody, I make a little mark that I left a message. You leave a voicemail. If I do get a hold of someone, I make a check. I introduce myself. I tell the brother what's going on. If I get their voicemail, I would, say, hey, this is Chris Douglas from Virginia Research Lodge. Please give me a call back and I give my phone number. So if you do get them on the phone, tell them what you're doing. Tell them you're an officer of this lodge and you wanted to check in on them. And if they have a few minutes, you verify all of their contact info. You ask them, I see here a phone number of this. Is this still correct? I still have a mobile number of this. Is this still correct? And then write down on the piece of paper what the difference is, the changes, and verify their email. If your lodge has a regular email you send out, then you tell them, have you been getting our emails? If not, sometimes you verify that they may have the wrong email. It may be going to spam. So I would send them a test email if the email address is different. I'd send them that. So just hit the list. I usually call about 10 or more people a night and then give them a few days to respond. But if you just work your way through the whole list, you might have 100, 200 members. Work your way through the whole list once and then update. If you're going to keep track of it yourself, you've got your paper, you go back and you update the Excel with what you have. And then when you're finished, you're going to give that back to your secretary to update to Grandview. But for the moment, you're just updating your local copy, maybe highlight the ones that you've changed so you know what to share with your secretary. After you've called all the list once, you're going to have some of the people are going to call you back, obviously. But then once you've hit the whole list, start from the beginning and call everybody you didn't talk to the first time. And just keep repeating until you get every single person you've talked to one time. And it really isn't hard. Once you get going, you're going to develop a little pattern, a little script you're going to follow in your head of, what you're asking them and all like that. So after you've got the whole list and you've verified everybody, then you're good to go. If there are people you couldn't get a hold of, I would send an email to the people whose phone numbers are bad that I never could get on the phone, or say the only phone number they have is bad. Send them an email, say, hey, so-and-so from this lodge, I'm just checking in on you and I have these for your phone numbers. Please give me a call or verify these numbers are correct. If you can manage to scrub your whole list, you'll have an updated roster of all of your members. And then worst case, if there are members you can't get a hold of by mail, by email, or by phone, then you have some brothers go and visit them at their home and verify they're doing okay. If you've got brothers elsewhere in the state, you can always write them a letter and say, we don't have current information on you. Please call us at this number, and then you can get it straight. So very straightforward. Those are the steps on how to build a phone list and keep in contact with your members. The final thing is I would recommend, once you've done this one time, is upon a phone committee to keep track of all of your members. The best way to do that is you take your list and you group it by, you have you should have their birth dates and their raising dates in the data from Grandview. Make another spreadsheet or however you want to get the data together. Organize people by their home, by their birth date, and by their raising date. And then you get two brothers in your lodge to make the calls. So in January, a brother's going to call everybody who had a birthday in January, wish them happy birthday on or about their birthday. Then the other brother's going to call everybody whose Masonic raising day, their Masonic birthday, is in January. Call them at least a week before the annual and say, hey, or before the stated, and say, hey, if you can make it to the lodge, we will recognize you for X number of years you have in. And if there are 20, 30, 40, 50-year member, then you coordinate with the master and say, hey, we need to make sure we have a pin ready. Stress to the brother, hey, it's your 50-year anniversary. You're entitled to this big ceremony. We'd love to have you in lodge and to give you a pin, and see about arranging that. So a phone committee will keep your lodge active and involved, and it'll keep track of the members who need a little help. That once you've started talking to them and you keep up with them, if they get used to hearing from you regularly, after a while they'll start telling you, yeah, I'm not really doing well. I could use help with my yard work. I could use help with this. And then you can help the brothers in need. Because if you only call somebody one time, they're not going to tell you off the bat, yeah, we're really hard up. Right? But if you call them routinely and they get comfortable with you and they realize you're truly a brother, look out for them, they'll open up and say, yeah, I could use help with this. And then you have a project we can go and help our brother in need. Last thing, remember this when you're doing your phone calls. For every one member of your lodge, there are 9 more just like him sitting at home who haven't been to lodge in years. And all 9 of them are just entitled to your love and brotherly affection as the ones who show up. So we need to find a way to reach out to all those brothers who aren't coming. If they come to lodge, that's great. We want them coming to lodge, obviously. But even if they don't, they know that they're not alone and their lodge still cares about them.